And so I guess my first question is, from your experience in Newark and now your experience in the Senate, how do you square thinking differently about how we give people a different sort of off-ramp to poverty, if you will, and an on-ramp into a different set of circumstances, but you also look at the question that we're living in a period of significant budget austerity?
Right. Well, I think, first of all, it's great to be here, and more importantly, it's great to see so many activists and people that are engaged on the front line. I have to lavish love upon Tavis Smiley because he and I have known each other. In fact, we first met in Washington, D.C., if you remember, many years ago, but he has been one of these consistent, persistent warriors of peace in our country and has elevated a platform that has really affected the national conversation, and I'm just grateful that he is here as well. But look, you can give him applause. I thought somebody started applauding. Yeah. But this is the infuriating thing as a mayor, is what you get to see up close and personal. I made a point when I moved to Newark to move into high-rise, what became public housing projects. When I became mayor, I picked the sector of the city with the most shootings and one of the poorest census tracts in the Northeast. And when you see it up close, you begin to see, first of all, the incredible waste of resources. We are a country that is so happy to spend an egregious amount of money on the back end trying to solve a problem than the comparatively small amount of money that would stop the problems from happening in the very first place. And that's what would frustrate me. I cannot tell you how many times. I'll remember one summer we had a horrible outbreak of violence, and we had a summit meeting just to deal with the violence. So practitioners of public safety, and by the way, police do not address problems; they address symptoms of problems. And I'm sitting there in this room with DEA, with the marshals, with all these federal agencies, with all these state actors, with all these county actors, and my police on a holiday weekend around July 4th. Millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer money in that room alone. And we were looking at about 12 gang members that were driving this violence. 12 men that, had you traced their lives back to the time they were in the 4th grade, had done the appropriate interventions, we wouldn't be having this problem. And so time and time again, I can go through the billions of dollars we waste on the back end and how low-cost interventions could prevent it, even when things get really bad.
So we can't afford to not address this, that the cost is right. Enormous.
That's why we're bleeding dollars needlessly and wastefully, trying to address issues that really we should be addressing in the front place. And look, education is a great example. If you think education is expensive, ignorance is far more expensive than education.